This could either be one of the easiest parts of the house, or this could be the hardest part of the house, and it's really up to you. So you have two options. There's one, the simple, fast, easy way, which I'll show you. It's the way you have to do it. And then if you want to make it look a little bit nicer and add on to that a little bit, it gets confusing, and I'm going to do my best to explain. And so yeah, just follow along. So I'll show you the easy way, which I did on this house. As you can see, the edges of the roof are really not realistic. They're just very thin. The roof doesn't really have any thickness to it. You can see those ugly looking supports there. The edges of the roof don't look that great. And I know the edges, this part of the roof, are round, but it really doesn't matter if they're round or flat. But as you can see, there's nothing under them. Doesn't look very nice. However, on this house, there's some thickness to the roof. See how it's like a little bit thick on the side? And there's some soffits underneath there, and it looks realistic. Well, that's the harder way, and that way it gets really confusing. See how there's under there, it looks nice from all angles, whereas that is not really that great. So I'll show you this way first, and then I'll show you the harder way. And if this is like your first house or something, I would recommend going with this. But if you want to try a little bit of a challenge or something, then you could go ahead and do it the other way. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Alright, here's way number one, the easy way. Now, what you're going to do is, now generally you're going to have a bigger roof than this. I have a very low roof pitch, and as you can see, one stick is all we need. Alright? Actually, it's kind of getting close. I might need to use two. But anyway, I'll figure that out. But generally you're going to have more sticks. Like it's going to need to go up farther. And so I will draw a very quick diagram of how you should do that. Now you can do it the way I did on that house, where you just like I did the floor, you just go across and you go across and you go across. Like, you do a bunch of sticks here, then start another row, go across. But then it looks kind of ugly. So we're going to do kind of what we did with the siding and stagger it. Here's my way of doing it. Let's say you're looking at the roof, like from this angle. This is the side of the roof, this is the bottom, you got your windows down here. And the first stick you're going to put on is going to be a full-length stick. And then the next piece is only going to be about half of a stick. And then the next one's going to be full, and then a half, and then full, then a half. And you're going to keep doing that. And then you're going to go ahead and fill in a full stick. After you do the first row, they're all going to be full pieces. So second row, you do all full ones, and then you go and do the third row. And so then everything is all staggered and it looks nice. But I don't think I need to do that on this house. I might, but I don't know. And so that's really it. The hardest parts are doing the edges. Obviously, you're going to want to cut your sticks flat, or if you want to do like I did on the first house and just keep the edges round, I mean, I don't care. Go ahead and do that. Just make sure the end piece isn't, leaning out or leaning in. Try to make it as straight as possible. You can kind of put it here, just kind of imagine things. Or if another way to see if it's level, or see if it's straight, get another stick, put it right here on the edge of that truss, and then you should be able to see if they're parallel or not. And when they're parallel, then it lines up perfectly. Alright, you're done if you're doing it the simple way. Now, for the 1% of everybody who's doing it the hard way, listen up. For everyone else, goodbye. You can go to another video now. Now, if you're trying to take a challenge here, I don't know where they are. I'm actually going to have to go get you're going to have to buy smaller sticks to do these details, and so I will go grab them. Alright, so I went in my closet and I got them. They're the same brand as the popsicle sticks I buy. I don't know what they're called. It doesn't really matter exactly what size you get, but as you can tell, in comparison to a popsicle stick, they're thinner. They're about half the width, and they're a little bit longer. And now this would be more like a 2x4. This actually, looking at the side, looks like a 2x8, 2x6 maybe. And so if I were to build a whole house out of these, it would be a very different scale. But we're going to use these for, alright, I'm going to give you some vocab here if you don't already know it. This right here going on the side here has different terms. I have my own terms for everything. I guess some people call it the eaves. I call it the flashing. Like this right here and this piece right here, like where the gutter goes, I call that the flashing. Or you could call it the fascia. I used to say fascia, but people used to make fun of me for calling it that. So I'm calling it the fascia now. And then the parts that go underneath, that keep you from seeing up in there, that go this way, those are called soffits. Alright, now we're not going to be doing anything in this episode with these sticks. But when we do put the sticks on, we want to make sure that they fit and that we measured for them right. And in this episode, we're going to do the roof part, and we're going to make sure that these fit where they need to go. Alright, and we're not going to do this part till the next episode, but we need to know now if it's going to work. So, how this is going to work is a bit confusing, like I said, so I'm going to try my best here. So here's how I do it. Pay attention here. There's going to be a soffit. Now, remember, we didn't do the siding yet. We're going to do that last. So, in order to do this, we're going to need to glue a stick here. Now, it's not permanent, so make sure you do dots of glue. Don't, like, glue the whole thing. It doesn't even have to be a full stick, but just put it there. Make sure you're going to be able to take it off. Don't put a lot of glue. And that is going to act as our siding, so we can pretend that there's siding there. Now, the soffit is going to go right here. It's going to go directly up against the siding. And then overlapping that is going to be the flashing, or the trim. And so if you look at the side, it's going to overlap it. So you're only going to see the soffit if you're looking at it from underneath. So it's going to overlap it. And then, it's hard to hold it like this, holy crap. And then the actual roofing piece is going to go over, alright? And the flashing is going to go over that piece. Now this is my own way of doing it, like I said. So, alright, let's do this in the real way. So that's the edge of our roof, and then this is going to overlap it, and then the flashing is going to fit perfectly underneath there. Alright, it seems a little confusing, but that's easy enough, I guess. However, we need to make sure it fits. If we go ahead and just glue this here, and then we put this piece on, what if the soffit doesn't fit underneath? Or what if the soffit space is too big, and there's still a gap left? We need to make sure that's fit right. So the first thing we're going to do is take a stick, and again, this is not permanent, but we're just going to glue it here where the soffit's going to go. Alright, so we're going to pretend that that's the soffit. So now we have the siding and the soffit. And then we're actually going to be putting... Alright, if you really want to help yourself and you're serious about doing this, find one of these or go to the store and buy one. I'm sure you could get a cheap one. It's called a rotary tool. I believe it's called a Dremel. I'm not sure. I don't know a lot of tool names. But basically all it does is spin. The end of it spins, and you could sand stuff with it. And if you put a piece of the roof on and then you realize that like the roof is overhanging too much when you're done, you could just sand it off with that, and it'll, you know, cut the stick right away. And so that's very helpful. Now for the tip of the roof, we're going to put this here, and we're just going to put the other piece here, and we're going to see where they meet. So right about there. And I'm going to make it go over a little bit because, again, I have this tool, and if it's too long, I could always cut it. And I'm going to put a mark there, so I could line that mark up with the top of this stick. And so I know that the stick is going to go right about here. And then I'm going to cut the other piece right there, and it fits pretty good. Now it might be overhanging a little bit too much, but that's fine. We will worry about that later. And if you're watching at this point and you're thinking, oh my god, I have no idea what he's talking about, this is too confusing, dude, just do it that way, alright? It is confusing, and I made up my own little way of doing this, and I know it makes no sense, but makes sense to me. Now when I put this piece here, I notice it's weak, because there's not enough overhang and it'll just fall off. And so sometimes you're going to need to add more of an overhang, and so you're just going to get some scraps. Alright, so I added some pieces in there that stick out a little bit farther, so it'll give me some nice roof overhang. Now we're going to line this stick up perfectly with that soffit, and if we look right on the edge of it, it should line up with the edge of the soffit, and it should be parallel with it, perfectly parallel. And then what we're just going to test and put our flashing on just as a test, and just kind of make sure everything fits. The soffit's a little bit low. I glued it a little bit low, but whatever. So we're going to put that there, and I'm just going to glue it into place and hope that it's alright. And so once you get this piece down, you can't really move it around too much because the glue dries very quick. So you're just going to kind of hope that it's in the right spot. And now we've got our first piece on. And we can go ahead and remove that soffit and that piece of siding. Alright, now here's where this tool comes in handy. As you can see, I made it a little bit longer than it needs to be, so it doesn't line up right. So I need to trim that off a little bit. You're going to want to make sure you're wearing goggles because stuff does fly at you. So alright, I just got to cut down to where it needs to be. Now that we've got our first two pieces on, we know that the roof is overhanging just as much as it should. So when we get the siding on there, the soffit and the flashing should fit perfectly. Now you're just going to work your way across, and before you get to the end, you're going to want to do the end piece first, and do the exact same thing you did, so just so you can make sure it overhangs right. And then you might have a stick that you need to cut a little bit smaller where they meet up. But now you need to do another difficult thing on the bottom here. Again, you're going to have siding. So the siding, you'll put a piece on, and then you're going to put the soffit. So the same thing, you're just going to put that and then glue the soffit there. And then the flashing is going to go over the soffit. It's going to overlap it like that. And so you're going to want to make sure that the roof overhangs just enough so that you can put siding, a soffit, and then flashing. Alright, so once siding's there and everything, that should fit perfectly. Alright, and now once you know that this stick is overhanging just as much as it should, you're going to get another stick to overhang just as much. Now I wouldn't say all the way on the other side for this house, so I would put it right in the middle, maybe like every 6 inches. So I would put another stick like right here. It doesn't matter, it's not going to be permanent, so it doesn't matter like how long it is or where it is. As long as it's overhanging just as much as this one, you're going to do that, and then glue. You might have to make like a double stick like I taught you, but then glue a stick here just to make a straight line, and then every stick you know just how far down it needs to go, so this line's not all wavy, just to keep this nice and straight going across. Alright, so you're just going to do that and then go all the way across the roof. And I know that was confusing. I'm sure nobody was able to follow that, but I thought it would be worth a try to try and teach you. So go ahead and try that, and I'll see you later. Alright, yeah, sorry I couldn't explain that a little better, but it's really hard to explain in the first place, and I'm also not very good at explaining things. So, as you can see, I finished the roof. The overhang, it's overhanging just enough so that the fascia and the soffit will fit. Same here. As you can tell, it's pretty straight. Alright, that one has a bit of a curve to it. But overall, it looks pretty nice. Mine looks nice and dark in there. And it's looking good. Now, oh, I forgot to remove that piece. But, I will be doing the roofing shingles on this house, like I did in the example. You can't really see it. But the nice thing about those is that your roof can look as crappy as you want it to because it's going to be covered with shingles. So as you can tell, it doesn't look too great here, and right here it doesn't look great. The end piece I had to do first, and then I had to custom cut these two pieces to fit in there. But I really don't care because you're not going to be able to see it. Now down the side here, we are going to be putting the fascia there, but it's really not, like each stick is a little bit uneven, so I'm going to go ahead and take this tool and just smooth it all off. And then in the next episode, we'll be doing the siding. We'll do siding, and then we'll put these pieces I was just talking about on, and then if we have time, we'll do the roof shingles. If not, I'll make that a whole different episode, but that's my first time actually doing roof shingles on a house, so it'll be kind of an experiment. So check back in the next episode.